Welcome back to Stark Lane. I have a feeling you'll be seeing a lot of our next guest in future years. He is an up-and-coming leader in Central Texas. He is about 4 years into this whole running thing, but he's already established himself as an elite endurance athlete, a Boston qualified marathoner, and a winner of several endurance events in Texas and in other states. He's a hub in his community. He's an entrepreneur. He is a husband. He's a father. Leroy Calk is one of the most purpose-driven individuals I have ever met, and I can assure you that says a lot. Let's dive in.
You are now listening to the Stark Lane podcast.
So your undergrad is agricultural engineering technology, and your graduate degree is in manufacturing technology management.
Correct.
How did you come into running? I mean, how did this happen?
Through none of that at all. None of my background from high school, college related to running in any capacity. It wasn't until I was well developed into my career, my professional life, and actually even as a new father, that my lifelong best friend from all the way back in middle school, he was turning 30 years old and had decided that he wanted to pursue a life transformation and pursue fitness and get back on track in terms of his health. And so he said, hey, I'm going to sign up for a 5K for my 30th birthday. And our birthdays are about 2 weeks apart.
Okay.
Cool. And me being his best friend, and granted, I wasn't in the worst shape, but I certainly was not physically active at the time, and the thought of running 3 miles, quite frankly, terrified me. But being his best friend and wanting to support this, new endeavor he was on, I said, well, man, if you're going to do it, I got no excuse. I'm going to sign up and do it with you.
How long ago was this?
This would have been 4 years ago. So I just turned 34, a couple weeks ago. And this is about 4 years since the beginning of this.
Because we met a year ago.
Uh-huh.
Where you won the Great Springs last person standing backyard ultra.
Yeah. Which, if you would have told me that was going to be in the cards 4 years
3 years
prior,
later.
3 years prior, I would have said, you're insane. I can't run 3 miles, much less what ended up being an 80-mile race that day. So,
and not just a typical backyard. That was a Tejas Trails backyard.
Yeah, I learned Tejas Trails has a fun way of developing a course. I had no idea, quite frankly, what I was signing up for. That was my first trail race, my first ultra race. And I really didn't know what to expect in terms of the course, but they really lined up a fun one for us that day.
Time out. You've heard us talk about backyard ultras, last man standing, last person standing. That's all one and the same. That is a standardized race format created by this guy, Lazarus Lake, also well known for being the creator of the Barkley Marathons. He's standing here in this photo with my friend Lisa Decker, who's probably one of the most accomplished 100-mile ultra runners I know. The backyard ultra is a standard race format where you run 4.167 miles every hour on the hour. If you don't make it back by the end of the hour, the clock knocks you out. If you can't start at the top of the hour, the clock knocks you out. If your mind quits, your mind has knocked you out, and if your body quits, your body has knocked you out, and you get a DNF no matter how far you go. Did not finish. There's only one winner in a backyard ultra, and that is the last person standing. When everybody else has been knocked out by the clock, by the body, or by their mind, that last person standing has to run one more lap, 4.167 miles around, to be crowned the last person standing and the only sole winner of the race. I want to go back to the last person standing race because it was epic. It was truly epic and one of the most brutal formats that exists on planet Earth. But you started from zero 4 years ago.
Correct. Yeah, started from zero 4 years ago. Like I said, just that original 5K. And after that first race, just talk about the endorphin high of what did I just accomplish? I just ran 3 miles, which, prior to that, I didn't think I was going to be able to accomplish. And my friend who was on this fitness journey and was trying to change his life, he immediately said, hey, we're going to go do a 10K now. And at that point, I knew I was committed to sticking with him along this journey. So we went from a 5K to a 10K to a couple months later signing up for our first half marathon. And a year after that first half marathon, we went and did our first marathon. And through that process, the bug bit me hard. especially after that first marathon. Once you cross the finish line of a 26.2, you really develop into just a different person mentally. If I can accomplish that, what else am I capable of? And so it was, roughly 6 months after that that we decided to sign up for that last man standing race and figure out like, hey, what can I get into in the trail world? So went and ran my first sub-3 marathon, went and ran the last man standing race after that. And it was...
you had your first sub-3 before that?
I had my first sub-3 before that. So ran my first marathon, which was just under 4 hours. It was a 3-hour, 54-minute race. Realized I wanted to go pursue bigger and better. I knew I wanted to go do a last man standing race, but I wanted to also go pursue a sub-3 marathon. So the next year I went and ran my first sub-3 marathon, and then 6 months after that was when we went and did the Great Springs last man standing race. So it was in the course of 2.5 years, going from half marathon to sub-3 marathon to then my last man standing endeavor. So it was quite the adventure, and it dominoed very fast. I did not anticipate getting to that point that quickly, but I just completely got consumed with this new sport and pursuing the best version of myself that I could find. And it led me to a place I didn't think I'd ever get to.
When you mentioned the best version of yourself, I can't help but think about this return to Boston.
Yeah.
Following your story, watching your Boston qualifying marathon this year, and that return that's going to be what, April of 2027?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be running the Boston Marathon for the first time in April of 2027, which Boston holds a special place for my family. So in 2019 was when we became parents for the first time, July 2019, and immediately after our son was born, we found out he had a rare medical condition called bladder exstrophy, which is a very complicated urology procedure that needs to be done when he's about 3 months old. And so we knew we needed to find the best medical treatment facility that we could in the nation for his condition, and all roads ended up leading towards Boston Children's Hospital. And we, through discussions with them, learned how extensive the healing process was and how long we would need to commit to being there on site. And we knew as parents this was more important than anything else in our lives. So we both stepped away from our jobs for the whole entire period that we needed to be there, and we stayed in Boston for 3 months from October of 2019 all the way to December, and went through what was a very difficult time, obviously.
That is heavy.
As a parent.
So heavy.
So to watch your 3-month-old have to go through a surgery that afterwards puts him in a full body cast from the chest down to the ankles. But kudos to the team there, because everything that we went through to make sure that he was taken care of was all worth it. They did it.
Yeah, I just saw him.
Yes, he is.
He's fine.
He's perfect. He is
full
perfect.
of fire, just an amazing little guy.
The most active, smart, sweet, genuinely caring. There's nothing that stops him. Watching his dad growing up as a runner, he wanted to go pursue something. So when he turned 4 years old, he wanted to go run his first 5K. So we signed up for a 5K at 4 years old, and not just a 5K. We went and did. It's called Dragon's Den in San Antonio. It is marketed as the toughest 5K that San Antonio has, and it's got crazy elevation game, similar to our last man standing race, actually.
Nice.
And that little dude went and ran that 5K. He was one of the last to finish, don't get me wrong, but got a standing ovation from everybody there. So he is, when I say he's tough and he's resilient and he can do it all, he's the epitome of that. So an inspiration for me, and his whole story and the whole journey of everything that he went through is part of what is now a full circle moment with going back to Boston. When we were in Boston, we knew we were going to have a heavy financial burden in front of us.
And you're not working.
We're not working. We stepped away from our careers to go have to do this. And we just knew it was going to be a sacrifice that we would have to figure out. And literally the day before we get discharged from the hospital to now continue our outpatient for the next, roughly 2.5 months, we got a call from Ronald McDonald Charity House of New England, which we were on a waiting list and we didn't think we would be able to get in, honestly. And they called us the day before we got released from the hospital and said, hey, we have a spot for you. Come here as soon as you can. So we stayed with them for the 2.5 months that we continued to need to be in Boston, and everything was taken care of, from the housing to meals to, and not only that,
That's
but just
a huge bill.
a huge relief. You know, you're already going through so much as a parent.
A first-time parent.
A first-time parent, emotionally, the burden is heavy, and to have in the back of your mind the thought of how we're going to dig ourselves out of this financial hole of having to pay to be in Boston when you're not working, that's just an added stressor. And to have that taken away, it just allows you to focus on nothing more than your kid and the healing that needs to be done, and the care that he needs, which was just the biggest blessing possible. And so at the time, living in Boston, you know, it's a really big running town. There's lots of active people there, and ironically enough, that's kind of where me and my wife both kind of started picking back up into running a little bit. It was more so just to get out of the apartment room that we were in, just to go clear our minds. So not that we were pursuing anything great, it was more just to get outside and get active. But seeing all the runners in Boston, you know, was inspiring because it's such a big, you know, run mecca. And I remember looking into the Boston Marathon at that time because, you know, I wasn't a runner. I'd never like really looked into the Boston Marathon. You just hear about it.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing what it takes to qualify for Boston and looking at the numbers and going, that's crazy that people can run that. Because here I am just like trying to go run a half mile just to get some fresh air. And I'm certainly nowhere close to the paces that are required to get into that race. And I just remember thinking like, wow, what a crazy event that is. And then, you know, you jump forward a couple years later and then I'm a runner. And not only am I a runner, but I'm starting to make progress and see that, oh man, I might be actually qualify for Boston. If I can do that, that would be an amazing full circle event. And not only that, I would love to be able to give back to the place that gave so much to us. Ronald McDonald Charity House of New England, every year, they sponsor runners that can go run for them and raise money and support their charity, which is amazing, and I love that. But if I can qualify for Boston, I don't have to use one of their sponsored bibs. I can actually qualify, earn my own bib, and earn money for their house that doesn't take away from one of their sponsored bibs if they could have somebody else use. So
that is so amazing. So it's just extra credit for Ronald McDonald House.
Extra credit, and so and my way of giving back.
And you have officially qualified at the Houston Marathon, right?
At the Houston Marathon just roughly 6 months ago. Yeah.
And I followed that race. It was an insane performance in the 240s, right?
Yeah, it was a 2:44:23.
So fast, Leroy.
It's insane because again, like these are things I didn't think I was capable of doing, and like here we are, and now it's one of the things where I'm not limiting any belief of what I'm capable of, and quite frankly, I spread this message to anybody, like, don't put limitations on what you think you can do, because I have been proven wrong to myself time and time again. From I can't run a 5K to how do people run a marathon to how do I ever run sub 3 to now I'm a qualified Boston Marathon runner, and this is still to this day blows my mind that I've gotten to this point, and I truly think that everybody is capable of greatness in their own definition and in their own terms, but there are things that definitely people believe that they are not capable of doing that I just disagree with. I think if you truly set your mind to something and you commit to it, don't put limits on yourself, because I have been proven wrong to myself time and time again. Elite
athletic performance. You don't just show up with the right mindset and run a Boston qualifying marathon. You have to train for that. It becomes a part of your life, a big part of your life.
Absolutely.
And so some people talk about that as adding to their life, and some people talk about it as like taking away. Mm-hmm. I don't know, what does that training look like for you, and has that added or subtracted to your life?
Yeah, I think it's addition by subtraction is the way that I see it. Huh. Okay. I have to commit a lot of time to training. Yeah. There's no way around that. If you're going to go pursue a big goal like that, you're going to have to put the time into training. But what I get out of it, the investment that I receive from waking up 4 a.m., 5-6 days a week to go put the mileage in, to go run in the morning, that's not who I was before running. I was not the person who would get up early and commit to really anything at all. But through the process of you know, in the beginning struggling to get up in the morning, in the beginning struggling to go run 1, 2, 3 miles, I found that that time became so valuable for me once you get through the point that running is difficult. Because in the beginning, every run is the most difficult thing you have on the docket for the day.
What is not 90% mental? There's a physical component too?
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. Eventually, you break through to the point where running does start to become easy. And I say that, and I know there's plenty of people that are on the outside of that looking in that say there's no way. You can get there. For some people, it happens faster than others, but it's absolutely true. And once I got to the point that running was no longer this warfare from the first step to the last, running became this active meditation. It became something where I am going and running for 30 minutes, an hour, now up to, hour and a half. And I'm not thinking about running. I'm somewhere else. I'm thinking about, maybe what I have for that day, maybe what I had from the day prior. I am unpackaging emotions that I wouldn't have time to unpackage otherwise. I am, thinking about goals or my family, or I'm deep in my thoughts and in meditation and in prayer. Some mornings it's just it's prayer, it's active prayer where I'm saying, hey, I need help with this, and man, I can hear God more on a run than I can hear anywhere, because it's me. There's nothing else distracting. There's nothing else occupying my mind or my time. And so yes, does it take away? Absolutely, because I would love to be able to sleep in until 6, 7 o'clock every day. But who I am, because I am willing to subtract that time from my day, adds so much value to my life, because now I can go into my day and I have unpackaged, I have figured out the problem, I have solved the Rubik's Cube that I have been struggling with for the last 24 hours, and now I can step into the day with a new plan, a new purpose, a new connection that I didn't have before, and I can show up as a better husband, father, leader, and the person that I am after the run is not the person that I am before the run, and the person that I was before I started running is not the person that I am now that I'm a runner. So it has changed my life completely.
And now we're sitting in this place that you guys have built, and I see hardware everywhere. I assume that's a combination of yours and your wife's.
Yeah.
There's hardware all over the place, just hanging from the rafters and from the ceilings. Mm-hmm. You've got the coolest collection of gear that, and of course your wife gave me the lowdown that this has been tested, it's proven. This is a store run for runners, by runners, and not just a store, but it's a hub of a community, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about Suburban Running Club. What is this place?
Yeah, the store really was designed with the intention of, we want to create a community that really didn't exist in this town before. And we saw that Seguin, the city of Seguin, was investing a lot into what, quite frankly, is a beautiful trail system. Originally, Starkey Park, which has been around for a really long time, is a beautiful area to go enjoy outdoors. It has a trail that runs through what was an old pecan orchard that's well shaded and is beautiful. It's right next to the Guadalupe River. And Seguin did a great job investing in a trail that connected and further expanded that and took it through the city and over to Park West. And we saw the opportunity to create a run community with the infrastructure that the city had. And it was just a matter of, well, how do we do that? Where do we start? And as we became more and more addicted to this running and going to these races and meeting people and realizing how impactful a community like this is, we wanted to build something like that here in our town. We love Seguin. We've lived here since 2014, and we don't have any intentions of leaving. We plan to raise our kids here, and it's a matter of, we want to see the change. And I think there's something to be said about, man, if you want to see the change, be the first one to step up and make the change.
Absolutely.
And we prayed about it. We started looking around at where could we open up maybe a small run shop, something just to ignite the community and get them excited and start to build, a run culture here. And when the schoolyard decided to kind of remodel and add some flair to it, this spot here opened up. And when we walked in and we saw the what was at the time just an empty, completely gutted out classroom. And we saw what they had done with the courtyard here and adding a playground and building the stage and the trail that Seguin has connected that runs right between us and the police station and goes right down to Starkey Park at that Pecan Orchard loop. Actually, I ran when we were looking at the spot, I ran from here on that trail, did the loop and came back and looked down, and it was a 5K on the dot. And I was like,
No way.
If that's not a sign,
convenient.
that's not a sign, I don't know what is. But it checked all the boxes, somewhere where we could establish a community-based community hub where we can host races, we can host run clubs, we can host events. It has a playground for families, so our kids and all of our friends and their kids can show up and just be in community together. And this spot here has just continued to grow. I mean, this was all just bootstrapped by us when we first started. The shoe wall had half of the shoes that it has on it now. And we've just continued to try to invest and grow. And with that, the community that didn't exist started small. It started with just a handful of people who decided to show up and say, hey, I think I want to try this running thing. And now it's massive compared to what it was. We have our Friday run clubs that regularly have anywhere from 30 to 40 people.
How does someone participate in the Friday Run Club?
You just show up. You just show up.
So is it like a bunch of like really ripped people who are going to come bro out with like elite athletes, or is it?
Not at all. Not at all. These are people who are running for fun. These are people who are more so getting together to see their friends than it is to go pursue some crazy run together. We are normally doing, ice baths and drinks, and last night there were cakes and cupcakes out here to celebrate birthdays. It's truly a run family that we've built here. Along with Fit to Inspire Run Club, who actually launched shortly after we opened the store, which was another sign that, hey, we're doing it right because someone else is interested in trying to build this as well. So it's been really awesome to see both of us actively participate in trying to grow, what we wanted to see in Seguin. And compared to where we started to where it is now, it's been an amazing passion project, something that we're very proud of, and the relationships and connections and the growth that we've seen as people not only get into the run clubs for the social, but they go and pursue big goals. These are groups and teams that go and run 5Ks and 10Ks together. The San Antonio Marathon, which is our local marathon, we had over 20 people from the Seguin community go and participate in that marathon. And afterwards, we all got together and hung out, and it was just a moment to look at, wow, this is what we wanted. This is what we prayed for. We wanted to create a community where we all go and do these things together as a group. And after the race, it was amazing to see so many people from a city where we started running that we knew nobody who also ran to look at what we've got now. And so it's been an amazing thing to be a part of.
So you're an elite competitive athlete, the principal of the Suburban Run Club, and sort of we'll call you the activities director because I've seen your activities on Strava. But you also still have a day job.
Correct. Yeah.
What gets you up in the morning and fuels that fire?
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing is, as a parent now, and since I've gotten into running after having my first child, who I get to show up as a parent through running and pursuing a career, it really helps me just lead by example and try to show my family that, and my kids, obviously for the most part, what it is to just go pursue your passions while also doing what is necessary. Because at the end of the day, the run store, we love it and it's a growing business, but it's still just a passion project. It is not a source of revenue for us. Everything that we've made off the store, we've put into growing the store, we've put into the community. We've sponsored the high school track team here in Seguin. We try to give back as much as what we've been given. And so with that, I have a full-time career in a corporate role. And so I want to go pursue my passions. I want to pursue this business. I want to pursue being an elite athlete while also providing for my family and showing that both are capable of being done. You can have your cake and eat it too. Is it hard? Absolutely. Does it require commitment? 100%. But if you truly want it, put in the work and you can do it. And I want my kids to be able to see that, because I do think it's a healthy balance. Yes, we should all go pursue our passions. Yes, we should all go have fun. But at the same time, sometimes that doesn't put the food on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
So both are necessary, and both can be done with the right work ethic and mindset, and who I get to show up as a parent with still juggling all of those things, because I choose the hard things to do. It helps me to get through the storms. It helps me to get through the difficult times. It helps me to show my kids what it is to be present, to be active, to be a part of family while still being able to do all the difficult things. It is this beautiful symphony of the good and the hard and the struggle and the enjoyment, and really just growing what you want to pursue, and making your dreams that you've always wanted to chase a reality through all the storm and through the difficult times, and balancing it all together. So, and I want my kids to see that example, and hopefully one day go pursue their passions while also doing what's necessary.
Your hunger for life it's contagious. Your hunger for life and your enjoyment in what you do. And I've absolutely enjoyed following you for that reason, because I see you knocking down one thing after another, and I totally get it. You know, when you really love something, sometimes it's worth building something that operates in the red just to fuel the platform on which you and your community or your family can stand and live.
Yes.
Yeah, I highly doubt Suburban Running Club will be in the red very long. But now let's dive into Leroy's career and how he turned an unexpected career change into one of the biggest opportunities in his adult life. Every executive I know has been through really rough times. You can't have a meaningful, like really impactful, really big career and not experience some gnarly
sort of
stuff.
sort of tragic event that you did not foresee coming.
Yeah, and if you haven't made a few enemies somewhere, you probably haven't done a lot. You know?
No, 100%. Yeah. If you've been around enough blocks, like, you're gonna make some enemies for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was, I will say that was talking about the career change. We'll actually dive into it. This is a part of the story that not a lot of people actually know. So I worked through college as an RV technician, just making a couple bucks on the side. As I was actually started at SFA in Nacogdoches, Texas. Got on a little small mom and pop spot there, just turning wrenches on RVs when I wasn't in class. And then when I moved here to Seguin, it was to go to Texas State to pursue, my graduate degree. And when I moved here, again, I wanted to pick up a part-time job, and so I got on with an RV dealership here in Seguin, Texas. And upon graduating from Texas State, they offered me a position that I couldn't say no to. It was a great resume builder, a great opportunity for me to kind of learn, the customer service side of the industry, which I didn't have any experience in. And I thought, well, let me give this a shot, because I really enjoyed the people I worked with. I enjoyed Seguin. At this point, we figured out we were going to plant roots here, and let me just pursue a career with this company that I really think I've got a future with. And it was incredible. I got to do exactly that. I got to work hard, pursue being great in my career, and continue to get advancements when the opportunities presented themselves, all the way to the point where I was a service director over a multi-dealership campus up in Buda, Texas, leading 2 service departments, roughly 50 people underneath me, managing 500 customers at a time. It was, don't get me wrong, a very high-stress job. A lot of late hours between the drive and the job itself. It was a huge commitment, but it was also an opportunity for me to provide for my family, and honestly helped, kind of build this. Financially, it took good care of us and allowed us to have a little bit of flexibility to be able to launch something like this. But as things go, things change, and at some point, companies have to make hard decisions. And they actually had a meeting with me the week before the Houston Marathon. And coming out of that meeting, I could see the writing on the wall. I kind of knew where things were going. And going into the Houston Marathon, which was a big deal for me. This was a race that I'd been preparing for 6-7 months. It was my shot to go qualify for Boston. I knew this was going to be my magnum opus race at the time, and everything had lined up great. Like the weather was perfect, my training block went phenomenal. Everything was there in front of me to go have the day that I wanted. But then I went into that weekend with just this cloud hanging over me of, what's coming after this. And I really held that in from my family, and they knew something was wrong, because when you've got that on your mind, you're just,
that's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's all you can think about. And mentally, like, it was really hard going into that race to have that, knowing that you're the provider for your family, and coming out of this, it's probably going to get really difficult. And it was actually the night before, my wife Rachel actually asked me, she's like, what is going on? Like, are you just really nervous for this race? And I finally just had to tell her, like, I'm not nervous for this race. I had something happen, meeting at work that I just been struggling to tell you about. And as soon as I told her, she went, hey, if it happens, we don't care. We still got you. In fact, that career is taking you so far away from your family. Like, if it happens, I see it as a blessing. Like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about that. Go run your race, and just know we're going to be okay. And as soon as she said that, it just took that whole weight off of my shoulders. And going into that race that next day, I was just...
Would you have qualified if you didn't tell Rachel?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I would have gone in that race, and I wouldn't have been able to think about anything other than the fact that no matter the day I have here today, I think I'm going to let my family down. I think they're going to be way too worried about where we go from here, and I think that would have just impacted my ability to focus on what I needed to. But thankfully, she knows me better than anybody, and she knew I had something going on, and she pulled it out of me, gave me the courage to go ahead and say what I needed to, and had the exact right response that I needed to hear was, we're going to be okay. And so as soon as that happened, I was able to let it go. I showed up on that start line, and as they're singing the national anthem, I'm just getting my mind right. Had a couple minutes to just pray and just say, hey God, like, this race means a lot to me. I know what's coming off. I know what's coming on the other side of this. Please let me have my day today. I'm ready for this, and whatever happens after this, let today be a day that reminds me that I can get through the hard things.
At one time, I thought I was unique in that my they call them ants, automatic negative thoughts, or demons that creep in late into an ultra. They creep into your mind, and I think a lot of men are like me, like you, where you think, okay, I'm out here all day and all night on this trail. Where is my family? I'm not taking care of my family. I'm not with them. I'm not working. I'm not making money right now. I'm a failure. What am I even doing? But that's all it is. It's an ant. It's a demon. It's not real.
Yeah, and it's. I truly think that the story lined up this way for that exact reason, to show me, man, you can pursue the big goals, you can pursue the passions, you can do everything right to get there, but man, the enemy will find a way to get to you in the ways that you're not expecting, in the ways that are out of nowhere. Because truly, I'd always said, like, man, I'm really stable in my career, like I've got this job figured out, like things are good, and out of nowhere it changed like that at the worst time. A couple days before a major event that I've been working hard for, and then I had everything lined up perfect for. The enemy will figure out a way to get to you, and thank God that my wife is who she is, and she has so much faith and just so much resilience built into her that she was confident that things were going to be okay. And when I crossed that finish line, obviously was proud of the result, but was obviously at the same time thinking, like, okay, now the next hard thing, was where my mind went immediately. But I had the confidence knowing that the people who've gotten me to this point are still there with me. The community that I have around me, my friends, my support group, they still love me all the same. And I know this next season of life is probably going to be a little scary, but we're going to be able to get through it. And sure enough, actually, that very first day when I returned back to work after the marathon was when, I was separated from my company. So life turned upside down for the first time in my adult life. Like, I was unemployed with a blank slate of not sure where to go. But I knew I could work through hard things, I know I'm committed, I'm capable, I can figure things out, I can solve problems, I can get through this, and I have the people around me to help me.
And with that, you're three and a half years into this running journey, from a 5K to a Boston qualifying marathon. So does the training and the prep and the community you built, did that help you sort of navigate that storm? And where are you with that these days? Because I know that was a while back.
Absolutely, yeah. That was in January, and honestly, because it was the first time in my life where I had a blank canvas. Obviously, we had the store built, we had the community built. I'd established myself as the runner, the person who pursues hard goals while running. I really wanted to spend some time just really healing from what had become a pretty stressful career and a really demanding career. A rewarding career in a lot of ways. It developed me professionally, to a level that I'm very proud of. But at the same time, I've got a young family that really hadn't got to spend the amount of time with me that we would have wanted to, just because of the demanding job. And so spend some time healing and kind of soul searching, and most importantly, getting to be like the dad that I'd always wanted to be in terms of spending time with my family. I got to walk my kids to school and pick them up from school. I never got to do that before. That was always my wife. And talk about the joy of getting to see your kid when they get out of school for the first time, and walk them home. Like, those small things were just, each one that I got to do was just repairing some of the brokenness that and guilt that I felt from not being able to be around as much as I wanted to. And so it was a great season. It was also a season where I was able to really pour into this and try to build, even more community around what we wanted to do here in Seguin, because I was able to put more time into this and do more outreach and go to more races and be involved with more of our local runners. So that was also wonderful. And you've put on how many pounds? Because I look at you now, you've got oak tree trunks for legs and shoulders and biceps. And I'm pretty proud of the fact that, and I know this is kind of weird, but I'm proud of the fact that I put on about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Obviously pursuing running, especially when you get to that level, if you're going to pursue that and nothing else, your body's going to change. You're going to start to get really lean, and I saw some photos of me after a marathon that I did up in Montana before the Houston race, and I was like, oof, that doesn't look like the me that I remember. And I thought, well, let's put some muscle back on. So yeah, started doing some strength training. The training partner that I have here in Seguin, he's a big hybrid athlete guy. So he started kind of coaching me up and giving me some tricks on how to balance both. And he's really good at his job there. So yeah, started hitting the gym a little bit more, putting some muscle on. And this was even going into the Houston Marathon. I went into the Houston Marathon with way more muscle on me than any other marathon. And you think well, that might make you slower. Didn't make me any slower for sure. So
clearly,
and in fact, I feel much stronger as a runner than I ever have. I know putting on the muscle is, maybe a little counterintuitive for, some running goals, but for me, it makes me feel more like a well-rounded athlete. It certainly helps me as a parent to actually have the strength and size that I need to, play with my kids and wrestle with my kids and do all the things as they continue to get bigger that you want to be able to do as a dad. And and actually I just continue to get faster. So it's working out. I'm happy with the way I look, and I'm happy with the way I'm feeling and performing. So I'm full hybrid athlete all the way.
So, you've got the running club. Now you're back in full swing with your career. What are you doing now for the community and for your running career? What does the next chapter look like?
Yeah. So I'm back with another great company, working in a corporate office role, leading a team. Still in the service industry, so my experience and skill sets translate over really nicely. But I will say the commute time is a fraction of what it was. The stress of this new role is, really, I don't want to use the word stress because it's just, it doesn't exist compared to my old job, which was very high stress. I haven't had a day where I've come home yet in this new role where I've said wow, that was a tough day. We'll see. It's only been a couple months. Things can change, but right now I feel like I'm in a really good spot with my new career. So much so that I'm just thinking in my head, man, why couldn't I have gotten here sooner? One of those things, looking back at it, like, oh man, now I'm where I need to be.
The path always meanders. There's never an A to B.
No.
You know, you have to go to some really dark places to get to the really bright ones. It's horrible the way the world works.
Well, and you know, for somebody who prides themselves on like structure and consistency, you know, when you find a career that is taking care of your family, like, I just want to hold on to that, even if it is stressful, even if it is hard. You know, I can do hard things. That's the mentality. Like, I can suffer through this in order to be able to provide. And change is scary when, you know, you start getting, you know, those demons in your head telling you like, don't leave. And then you are forced to, and you end up in a situation that's much better, and you go, man, why did I ever listen to that? Like,
so maybe the demons aren't right.
Yeah. Turns out
those automatic negative thoughts might be lies.
Turns out the demons are a bunch of liars. You know, who would have thunked it, right? So so my career right now is in a much better spot, and I'm so happy with where I've landed in the long term. And yeah, now because I'm much less stressed out. I'm a shorter commute. The job is not, you know, as time demanding. I am able to spend the time with my family. The balance is there. I'm able to make it home for dinner. That wasn't something that I was able to do all that often at the old job. I'm home for dinner every evening now. I'm able to be here for the run clubs where normally I'm the guy who's rolling up late and not able to actually go run with everybody. I hang out afterwards because I got stuck at work again. So I'm able to do all those things. I'm hosting a Wednesday morning track club where everyone's getting together and putting in some hard, fast efforts. We're putting races on calendars together. I'm meeting new people every month that are moving to this area that want to, you know, find people to run with. It really feels like we've turned a corner for myself and my family and this, you know, local community, and like we are finding a new chapter that is balanced, restored, and I'm feeling way better mentally than I ever have, which is helping me now in terms of pursuing race endeavors. It's helping me continue to kind of turn the dial, because now that I'm feeling good mentally, spiritually, and like I have the balance, I'm starting to crank up my training. I want to go pursue some new things that I haven't done before. I want to go pursue, you know, maybe seeing what some 100-mile weeks look like for training. I want to go pursue even faster times. I want to go find what my limits are. The San Antonio, Texas Marathon, which is the first marathon I run, well, back when it was the Rock and Roll, San Antonio Rock and Roll, that marathon has a special place because it was my first marathon, and it's the one that I've done every year since. And I want to go see how fast can I get on that course. Maybe one day, I don't know. Could I win it? Is it going to require like running a sub 2:30? Probably, looking at like typically what the winning times are.
I did see an update from the race company that they promised us more hills.
Lovely.
In 2027.
That's just what I needed, you know? So we'll see what that course brings over the years, and obviously, you know, winning an event like that always depends on who shows up. But like I said, I'm not putting any limits on myself. I've already exceeded expectations from where I started to where I am now, and I'm gonna go pursue what I think are limits and see if I can continue to break those. And hopefully one day it culminates in some more crazy experiences, some more moments that I go, I can't believe I just did that, and I want to go find out, can I go win that marathon? Can I go run under 2:30? Can I do 100-mile weeks consistently in a training block?
That's a big week.
That's
a massive. Oh, it's
scary.
Week.
Thinking about that now terrifies me because you know, my normal training blocks peak at like 65, 70 miles a week, and I'm talking about adding another 30 miles on top of that a week. But you know, the scary is where I always find the growth. The things that I fear the most are where the joys are always found. Like I just talked about with my career, you know, on the other side of the scary thoughts of what do, I find this new blessing. The scary thoughts of how do I go achieve this time. When I do it, I find that now I can go run Boston and give back to a charity. It's on the other side of I don't think I can do that, pursuing it. And not to say that you're always going to achieve it, but you'll find the gold within the pursuit of. And I may never win the San Antonio Marathon, but I know pursuing it is going to bring me so much more than if I said, I can't do it, so why try?
Case in point, I met you a year ago at the last person standing at the Great Springs Trail Race. It was a horrible experience for me. I wanted to die by the end. But it was great. That's what I went there for, because my mind or my body is going to break. You don't know which one's going to break first, and you're going to find something.
Right.
Lo and behold, I see you there. I look you up on Strava afterward. And, quite honest, I know you're not like an influencer. You don't have a vein bone in your body, clearly, you or Rachel or your family. But you put a lot of information out there on both Instagram and Facebook and also on Strava. And selfishly, I've taken a lot of the stuff that you've put up, I've put it into practice. And I never thought I would be fast. But I've seen some like serious gains. And I think that's such a cool thing. And you see other people that seem to be, very like-minded, or they have similar traits or similar goals. And, I think if you're watching this episode and somebody encounters you and then they look you up on, Instagram or Strava and they pick up something that adds to their life, it's just a serendipitous opportunity that came from the goal that they had and why they were searching and why they found this episode.
It's what I love about this running community is it's so accepting of everybody, right? It's from the elite runners who do the super long distances or the super fast races all the way to the person who's just trying to go walk their first mile. All are welcome. Anyone who shows up to our run club or walks through these doors looking for, a right pair of shoes, regardless of where they're at in their journey, you found the right place because we want to help you get there, right? And that's why we put out what we put out on social media is if it inspires people, great, but more importantly, I want to help people get there. I want people to say, hey, I saw you do this, how can I get there? And because look, I've done a lot of things by myself without help, and I've been thankful now that I've made connections that I have helped to get me places. But it's tough when you're doing it alone. It's tough when you're trying to figure it out without people who can give you the advice. And so I've been fortunate that as we've grown this and as we've grown our social medias and we've made more connections, people have reached out and asked for advice, and I love that more than anything because, man, if I can help you pursue goals like that's what I want more than anything. I mean, I love pursuing my own goals, but it fires me up to see others chase theirs and to others reach theirs. The people who inspire me to chase my goals, I want to inspire others, and I want to help people get there. So that's the beauty of it. It's everyone starts at their own place, and the running community is so welcoming of let me help you get to where you want to go next. And we've had people in our community that have lost, 50 plus pounds to get, feel healthier and better as a parent, and then it creates this inflection point for their family where now their family's all getting healthier together, and you talk to them and they go, man, who we are now as a collective unit is different than where we were 2 years ago. And that fires me up because we're not just, at that point, we're not just improving our own health, we're setting up generations and changing families, and that's what it's about.
Okay, time out. One of the reasons you're seeing Leroy on this channel is I can personally validate a lot of these things he's talking about. Case in point, this guy walked into the store about an hour after we recorded this part of the conversation when we were wrapping up. His story's just awesome, and he's so proud of a physical and mental transformation that he's gone through over the last year and the quality of his life and the life of his family as a result. Meet John.
Hello.
Hey, John.
Hello, Ryan.
John, this is Ryan. Ryan, John.
Pleasure to meet you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
John here. How much weight have you lost in the last year?
80 pounds.
80 pounds.
Wow.
80 pounds.
80 pounds.
That was July 25, and that's now.
Dude, that's awesome.
This one kind of shows a little bit better.
Jeez.
July 25 to 26.
Dude, you're freaking carved. That was a year?
Crazy.
A year?
He's a whole different person. He showed up to Stetson's birthday party a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and I didn't even recognize him.
That is so awesome, man.
And we've known John for a long time. Since we moved to
at y'all's
Seguin,
wedding.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been a friend with us for a long time. But he made the commitment to like, hey, I want to change things. And since then, like obviously he looks a lot different. But not only that, his wife and kids and everyone is more active, and y'all are in the gym every weekend now. I mean, their whole life has changed.
You see why I couldn't leave John's story out of this episode. The mark of a real leader is not just a series of bullet points on a resume or a bunch of hardware hanging from the ceiling from the races they've won or the contests where they've placed well. It's when you see an entire community of people working to inspire and empower everyone around them because of the way they were empowered or inspired by that leader. And that's what I'm trying to capture for you today with Leroy and everyone else that you meet on our channel. Let's dive back into the rest of the interview. I hope you found today as impactful as I have. And on that note, you've got work to do. You've got a community to tend to. I've got to get to work after, actually, I see if you have my size in those bad water mountain coats.
We've got them.
All right, brother. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
thank you so much.
This has been the Stark Lane Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you find the programs to elevate your career and your passions. Now, get back to work.